Hi everybody, this is Noelle from Petitti Garden Centers, and we're here at our Oakwood Village location, and it is peach season. That's all I have to say. It's such a wonderful time in the summer, and when the peaches are really starting to ripen and look really nice. So we had to talk to you about peaches today. So a spotlight on peaches. The care for peaches can transfer over to things like if you're growing plums, if you're growing cherries, if you're growing nectarines, apricots, all those good things. So we'll put them in the whole fruit bowl with the peach category, okay? And peaches their Latin name is Prunus persica. And prunus basically means cherry or plum, believe it or not. So when we're trying to keep track of our inventory, plums are all prunus, cherries are all prunus, peaches are prunus, so it's like a big category for us, a big genus for us. And persica just means that they actually are native to Asia, and they moved through Persia when they came into Europe, and hence that's their specific epithet is persica. So there you go. You know peach trees as these lovely, delicious, juicy, sweet fruit in the summer. We can grow them up here in Northeast Ohio. Hardiness zones for most of your fruiting peaches are going to be anywhere between zone 5 and zone 8 or 9. And really it has to do with their chilling hours. So chill hours on peaches are in Ohio we need peach varieties that like anywhere between 800 to 1,000 chill hours under 45 degree temperatures again. So the common ones you see growing in our area are going to be like Red Haven, Alberta, Harvester, Ranger, very common peach varieties that we find in the Midwest. And they like longer chill hours, so that to produce fruit, that works very well for them. So just keep that in mind. And again, it's all going to be different with the varieties. So make sure you read your plant tags, make sure you know what variety you're getting, and always check all that information. It's always helpful information to know. With peaches, I'm going to tell you to be successful with them, they really need to be in full sun conditions. So 6 or more hours of direct sunlight per day. I'm going to tell you, southern exposure, absolutely. The only drawback there is I recommend growing peaches in like a semi-protected area. So eastern exposure, western exposure, if you can get a little bit of wind protection, that helps because their branching can be very flimsy and kind of stretchy. And so sometimes you can get a lot of breakage in peach trees. So be aware of that. The other thing is if you can put them in a half day of sun, either east or west, they don't bloom as quickly, and peaches bloom early for us. So peaches usually bloom in April, and at times in northeastern Ohio, we have terrible April weather. And so we try to grow peach varieties that bloom a little bit later in April, but if they can be protected, that always helps as well, and helps obviously down the run for fruit development and harvest and all those types of things too. So keep that in mind. Full sun conditions, but with a little protection around them, that's always going to be a good thing. So be aware of that. Another thing that you need to know about peaches is they really do love medium moist, well-drained, fertile soil. Again, so if you can amend your soil, it's going to be really important to these peaches for good success and good harvest down the road. And I'm going to tell you, amend with organic matter. And of course, when we're planting, the first time we're planting and you can't amend a huge area, but you just want to amend the planting hole, you want to go ahead and dig out that existing soil, put it off to the side, then go ahead and apply 50% of an organic amendment. So things like compost, sweet peat, we'll use our planting mixes, and mix that soil 50-50 mixture and go ahead and you're going to backfill with that mixture. So do be aware of that. Good amending in this area. And again, folks, we're talking about Northeast Ohio. We're pretty clay up here. And the other thing is just be aware that we plant plants a little bit higher as well because we don't want them to sit in water. So whatever you do, don't plant your peach low and don't let them sit in water. They cannot tolerate wet feet. They really do not like that. So that's your soil. Now, with your watering, again, establishing all new plants and lawns and perennials and annuals and things like that in the ground, 1 inch of water, 1 time per week, slow, thorough watering so that the root system is following the water into the ground for you and becoming longer and, of course, growing deeper into the soil, okay? If it rains a 1/2 inch of water that week, guess what? You only have to irrigate a 1/2 inch to complete that 1 inch, okay? So just keep that in mind. And after they're established, after that 1 year of taking care of their water needs, they're pretty good. They do very, very well on their own. If we get into a drought period, please supply some water to them. But other than that, they will do fine for you, okay? So peaches, once they get going, no problem whatsoever. Okay, fertilizer. So let's talk about feeding peach trees. Feeding all of your plants is a good thing. They don't need a lot of food, but it will help them again in the long run in fruit development because they bloom so early in the spring in April. That first feeding is at that time. So you use plant tone and iron tone once in the spring when they're flowering and once again in midsummer when that fruit is developing for them, okay? And that will really help them out, keep them green, keep them healthy for you. Okay. Now, I have to tell you that growing fruit trees is always going to be high maintenance. It doesn't matter what fruit tree you have. And the reason being is, number one, you have to prune them a lot and keep an eye on their pruning. They produce a lot of suckering growth. They produce a lot of water sprouts. They produce a lot of side shoots. So pruning is a must, okay? That's number one. Number two is you're really going to have to scout for pests, disease, and I'm talking about small pests like insect pests. I'm also talking about large pests like deer, okay? So you have to scout these plants very, very often, and peaches do get a number of different diseases, fairly serious diseases too, that you can prevent, and we'll talk about that in just a second, but you've got to make sure that you're watching these plants and how they're developing for you, okay? The third reason, as far as that high maintenance concern is again, going through and just and harvesting. So you've got to take care of that fruit production as well. So do be aware of that. Pruning, okay? Your initial pruning when the trees are young is what we normally call an open shape pruning, okay? So what you want to do is select 4 or 5 branches that are going to develop and bear your fruit, and the central leader is basically cut down so these large branches come out from the center, and this leaves a very open shape. So when peaches do fill out, they become very broad, rounded canopy trees, okay? Your peaches might be dwarf, which is anywhere from, let's say, 8 to 10 foot tall, to semi-dwarf, which both of these that I have here today, patio peaches, very dwarf. Then you have your fruiting peaches that are semi-dwarfs, typically anywhere from that 10 to 15 foot mark. Some of peaches can be on standard stock. Standard stock is going to be 15 to 20, 25. Okay, so those are fairly large peach trees. So again, they can be open, broad, rounded canopy trees with very sort of thin lance type leaves. It's very typical of the plant. All of them have that sort of long, thin lance-like leaf to them. And what they do is they will produce a lot of branching. So what we often talk about with pruning is making sure that the branches, and obviously this is a very young peach tree, folks, so that still needs to be developed. But the branching should not be any more than 4 inches apart, okay? So this branch and this branch need to come off between these 2 branches, right? So there's a lot, like I said, with a young peach, there's a lot of growth here. There's a lot of fruit on this tree, and it hurts your heart to remove those branches. But when the trees are young, it's the best time to do it. And you're really wanting to remove anything and space your branches out at least 4 inches. Sometimes it's 8 inches, you know, so you get some nice, broad, strong branches that these fruit will grow on, okay? The next thing that you need to know is once your tree starts bearing fruit, and it can start bearing fruit at 2 years, sometimes 4 or 5 years. It just kind of depends again on variety. But after 2 years of being established in the ground, those fruit-bearing branches, you actually remove after you've picked the peaches from them. You remove them either in dormant season, so we usually say late winter to remove them, or after you enjoy the flowering in the spring, because the flowers are so beautiful on peach trees. They're fragrant. They're usually a really beautiful pink, like deep pink, for the varieties that we normally grow. And so they're gorgeous. So, okay, prune them after flowering. Try to prune them during a dry season. In Northeast Ohio, that's hard to find in April. But again, dry days when you can go in and prune, because again, we're trying to prevent diseases and other things happening to these plants. So you're removing the productive branches that bore fruit last year, okay? And then, believe it or not, you're going in, and any really long branches, you're removing or heading back 50% of that growth too. So again, these are high maintenance trees, and it works for most of your, stone fruit trees, your cherries and plums as well. So you're gonna be doing some pruning, okay? So again, high maintenance. The other thing that you wanna do, and I'm just gonna show you this branch, show Taylor this, is with peaches, again, you would do this when they're just developing fruit and they're marble sized, okay? So we've let this go a little bit too long in the nursery, but you really want at least 4 inches between the fruit, if not more. So I would go ahead and remove, I would leave one of these fruit on here and remove 2 of them, okay? So there was only one on this branch here. This is kind of a better, Taylor, I'm gonna push this one out. Can you see that? There are 5 peaches on this branch. There should only be 2, okay? So again, I would probably remove these bottom 2, leave this one, and remove this one in the middle, and I would have this one fill out and this one fill out, okay? So again, it hurts your heart when they're this big like this, but this is a young tree. All these fruit are not going to develop on this tree. It can barely support some of these branches as it is. So do be aware of that again, that pinching of fruit, spacing things out, spacing branches out, watching out for the suckering growth, watching out for the water sprouts. All of those things are fairly high maintenance with this plant. Okay, the next thing is spray. And we have a video on spraying your trees, okay? So I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but peaches, what you really need to do when they are dormant, so this is March, before you get the leaves pushing out and the flowers pushing out, is you need to have a nice day. Sometimes, fingers crossed, it happens, but you need to find a nice day where you can spray a dormant sulfur spray on these trees. The reason being is it will reduce your chances of having peach leaf curl, brown spot, lots of different things. Canker can help reduce canker on these trees. So again, that dormant sulfur spray is really, really important. And you can find more information on that online at petittigardencenter.com. But I will tell you, dormant sulfur spray is a must with these, okay? Absolute must. And then after that, follow your follow your fruit spray schedule. We like to use Bonide Orchard Spray. It's an organic, natural spray that you can use on your fruit trees, and it works very well. And you're going to spray, at bud swell and before it goes into full bloom, and you'll spray after petal drop. So when those flowers do drop their petals, that's when you can spray again. And then honestly, it's about every 2 weeks up to harvest, okay? So like I said, fruit trees are high maintenance, but I mean, if you love peaches and you want to grow your own, it's so rewarding and they're so delicious. So it's something that you want to think about, okay? Deer, again, netting is a really good idea for your fruiting trees. Repellents are fine to use on them too. Some of the repellents, you want to look at the package directions because you don't want to spray some of these repellents closer to the time of harvest. You don't want that on your fruit, okay, just because it smells bad and tastes bad. So again, do read that package directions. But I think netting is always a really good way to go on your fruit trees. Okay, very good. That's a lot of maintenance. Sorry, that was a big thing. Now, next thing, attributes. So I already said, they're a beautiful flowering plant. And that's why we grow these patio type peaches. It's not for the fruit development. These fruit are very small. They rarely come to full form. I'm going to tell you, we don't eat these fruit, okay? It's really for the beautiful foliage. And this is bonfire peach. Bonfire has this beautiful reddish burgundy foliage color. Very, very compact habit. We're talking 4 to 6 foot tall and wide, really, folks. So we'll grow these in containers. We'll grow them in the ground in a smaller space near the patio so we can enjoy the flowering on it. Is stunning in the spring. Absolutely gorgeous. Bright pink flowers. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. We also have another one similar to this. It's called Ruby Ruffle or Ruffle Ruby. Ruby Ruffles, I think. And it has ruffled flowers and more ruffly foliage. Same beautiful burgundy color, kind of similar habit, but they're just beautiful plants to grow. So again, some of these peaches are ornamental, okay? So keep that in mind. Obviously, these are not ornamental. These are gonna be your true fruiting edible peaches, and they are absolutely delicious. So let's talk about that. As far as your varieties are concerned, there's lots of different varieties. And again, varieties do grow differently in different parts of the country. So you want to find out what varieties are going to grow the best for you. In our zone, we're in zone 6 here in northeastern Ohio, and we will grow varieties like I mentioned before. Red Haven grows very well for us. Harvester, Ranger, Redskin, Belle of Georgia, Alberta. Alberta is an heirloom peach. It's one of the most grown peaches, very, very popular peach. It grows very well for us. So again, just keep that in mind and they'll do very nicely for you. This one here, this is Harvester, okay? And you can tell Harvester is loaded. This is a very young tree, okay? So again, we want to develop the pruning and the branch structure on this tree. We're not going to harvest any of this fruit this year. It probably will not grow to full size, okay? But next year, might be able to get some really nice full-size fruit off this tree as we develop, I'll say, the scaffolding or the branches on this tree, okay? Harvester is a late bloomer, and that's excellent for our neck of the woods. The reason being is we get very late frosts in northeastern Ohio. Sometimes in May, mid-May, we're still getting some frost. So if we can get a later blooming variety to grow for us, that's always going to be better than an early blooming variety. I wanted to tell you, Harvester produces medium to large fruit that work well eaten fresh, canning, freezing, whatever you want to do with this peach. Make some ice cream with it. Awesome. Harvester is multi-purpose. It's really, really good. Ranger is multi-purpose like that too. Red Haven is multi-purpose, and all three of those are kind of later bloomers. So we hopefully have a good bloom set, and then we don't have to worry about the frost with these guys. So that's something to keep in mind. They're all pink bloomers too, so that's really fun. Really, really beautiful in the spring. These guys, most of the peaches that you see that we grow are going to be, again, like a typical peachy, yellow, golden yellow, peachy to red skin, okay? And then the inside is going to be that golden yellow flesh. Most of the ones we grow are also freestone, which means that the fruit comes away from the peach pit very easily. So you can, again, eat it fresh, process it. It does very, very well for us. Sweet, juicy, delicious. Can't say enough about the taste. And I really don't taste a big difference between all of the different varieties now. They all are good growing and eating varieties. So never have to worry about that as well. What else do I want to say about this one? Just great. And you can tell, again, harvester, it's loaded, and it might be its second year on this tree. So next year in the ground, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous and really start growing for us. The other one that I have over here is a little bit different, and this is Belle of Georgia. Belle of Georgia is one of our white fleshed peaches. So you can tell it is, it's actually an earlier bloomer, and you're seeing that the peaches are sort of greenish right now because it has not totally colored up. It is a lighter skinned peach, so it's going to be more of that creamy color with the red peachy blush on it when it does fully develop. Again, it's a young tree, so it's not going to develop full out yet for you. And this one, when you cut it open, it has that white skin. So it's very pretty, that creamy white skin to it. This one, again, grows very well for us in northeastern Ohio, but because it's an earlier bloomer and it's a little bit later in development, sometimes we don't get as good of yields or harvests off of this tree just because of the early blooming. Now, I should mention as well, peaches are self-fertile, okay? So they pollinate themselves. You can grow peaches singly, and they will produce their fruit for you. However, peaches, they grow and produce much better if you have a second variety. It's just, again, sharing the pollinators, and they just do so much better if they have a second variety nearby, okay? So keep that in mind, but you can grow a single, no problem whatsoever. Another thing that I should mention is it's always good to plant some crops underneath, flowering crops underneath, to attract more pollinators to the trees. So we use things like chives, so the onion family, no problem whatsoever. That's a really good crop to kind of keep away other insects. The allium family, chives, onions, garlic, they will keep certain insects away that can help the peach tree. Things like yarrow, so your perennial flowering yarrow is a really good thing to have and plant nearby and around the base of the peach tree as well, because it repels big pests and little pests too. You can also plant annuals like your nasturtium, because nasturtiums will pull and trap aphids away from the trees. Also marigolds too will keep nematodes away and whitefly. So there's lots of good benefits for underplanting around your peach trees to bring in more pollinators and keep some of those pests away. So do keep that in mind too. Okay, I think I hit most of the points with growing peaches. Oh my gosh, I just really need to bite into a peach right now. They're not quite ready. So needless to say, folks, just remember, peaches love full sun. They love well-drained but medium moist soil, very rich, fertile soil. So make sure that you're taking care of the soil around them, amending the soil around them, that you're fertilizing them, plant tone and iron tone, at least twice, once in spring, once in midsummer. just doing your best as far as pruning and spraying, keeping up on your spray maintenance as well to kind of curb any disease, any pests that you might see, netting as well for the birds and the deer. I forgot to mention the birds earlier. And just enjoy your peaches.